All right, folks. Hey, it is Election Day Eve. How's everybody doing today? Woo!
Woo! Very good. Good.
All right, all right. Love to hear you guys. Right before I mute you, hold on one second. I just so you know, I really hate doing that. I just have to do it because this is a podcast and it goes on the podcast. And if somebody's like, you know, you always have somebody who breathes, you know, like this, and it shows up on the recording, and you can't have that. So I have to mute you guys. But okay, Michelle Boggiano, I know you're on here. Hit *6 so we can hear you. *6. Let me know when you've done that.
I'm here.
There she is, ladies and gentlemen. And once again, if anybody has a question, all you have to do is hit *6, and we can hear you. But then make sure you remute your phone and listen to all these people coming on today for you, Michelle. Wow, you're like famous. Ladies and gentlemen,
so famous.
From the Scottsdale office. Okay, once a top producer, now gone top manager. Okay, from the Scottsdale office, Michelle Boggiano. Woo-hoo! Ladies and gentlemen, they're clapping. You just can't hear them because I've muted them, Michelle.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Rick.
All right. Well, since you're from AZ and we have people from Nevada and California on here, take a minute, tell them who you are, all that good stuff, please.
Okay. So I'm the branch manager for our Scottsdale Kierland office, and I began selling real estate in 1995, and I've always sold here in the Valley.
Nice. All right, and you were, you've worked at other places before here. You've been with us for how long now?
I joined Berkshire Hathaway in December of 2017, and I came over as an agent. I did not come over as a manager.
Right, you came over, and I remember that. You used to come to my training, which was great.
Yep, 22 years in, and I learned things from Rick's training, believe that.
See that? Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. All right, so, and now I know as an office, you guys have had some pretty incredible months, haven't you, the last few months? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I have to say that we've been really moving forward, leveraging our business even during this pandemic. I'm waiting for the final count here this morning. During the month of October, I brought out a spooktacular listing contest so that we could continue to get listings and keep our pipeline and drive the fourth quarter home, and then also be doing the steps to have our pipeline ready to go in January. So as of Friday, when I left, we had taken 41 listings in October. And
wow.
I knew of a few, and I'm only counting them if they get them into Sky Slope. So I have a feeling more were entered into Sky Slope on Saturday the 31st. So I'll have my final count later today.
All right. Yeah, and it just seems crazy how inventory is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. We have a pandemic, and yet the business seems to be. And once again, folks, you know, I think Arizona has, you know, been the easiest to operate. You, with the exception of a couple weeks, you've been able to have open houses and go door knocking, and I think that's helpful. But it's kind of crazy that how busy it is with, and I know that office has had some record months this year, right?
Yeah, we really have, and it's been kind of it's been kind of neat to see how it's changed. But I will say that our office adapted very quickly, and we kept our calls going, our networking, and everything, even during the pandemic. And you know, other than that first few weeks where we were settling into how to do it, I commend my agents. They brought out virtual listing presentations. They revamped how they were doing things. They, you know, kind of went back to some of the basics, got back on the phones, reaching out to their sphere, a lot of just checking in on their sphere and past clients, see how things were going. And several of them, you know, did pop-bys and left little things by people's doors just so they know they were thinking of them. Some of my agents, for, you know, their elderly clients, were out getting stuff for them and delivering it to their door. So they really stepped up and kept in touch, and I think that's what has helped us have these stellar months.
Yeah. Yeah, I can remember doing Facebook Live when Mark and I were doing them together. That's one of the first things we started talking about. Call everybody, check it in. We're even calling it reverse prospecting at that point. I think you guys have done a great job of that. And let's face it, it is a relationship business, is it not?
Very much so. Very much so a relationship business. And, the voice-to-voice and face-to-face is always going to, make the referrals in the business come back to you sooner.
Right. Right. And it's like I like what Dan Mum said, too. He called it golden what do you call it? The golden rule prospecting, where you call, check in, make sure everybody's all right. And let's face it, with our fiduciary responsibility, that's kind of the most important thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it totally is. And I know when I was in sales, one of the things I did, I would just, as I was driving around different subdivisions out showing or prospecting or whatever, I would think of clients that lived in that area, and I would just pick up the phone, just call them from the car and say, "Oh, hey, just drove by your house, made me think of you. How are you doing?" Those kind of things. And I would always get calls back with, "Oh, that's so nice of you that you thought of us and called us." So just keeps you top of mind.
Yeah, it really does. And when you do that, you don't even have to bring up real estate, because they will. And even if you don't and it doesn't come up, you're still doing the right thing, and it's still, people are going to use you. If you have a relationship with them, that's why I always tell them, look at, your sphere of influence. If your first thought is, "Oh, they know who I am, they'll call me, I don't want to be a pain, I don't want to beg for a bit," I'm like, that is you're a salesperson. Be proud of it. Talk to people, check in, say hello. I could give you example after example, even of some of our top producers that have implemented that, and it's really skyrocketed their business, because let's face it, it's the right thing to do too. Now, Michelle, it's exciting to me. I hope it is to you guys too, that next week I'm actually going to be at your office meeting. It's going to be a blast for the first time since February. No, I shouldn't say that. I went to one thing a couple weeks ago, your luxury tour with Shirley from your North Scottsdale office, the Shirley and Phil. That was great. And they had it filled, which was half. Normally there's 100 people there. They sold out to 50, and actually had people outside. My little talk was on speakers too. It was great. What a beautiful golf course too over there. But it's going to be fun. I'm going to be in Arizona next week, and one of the things I'm doing is your office meeting. So we should have some fun doing that too. It's great to get out there too. I love this. I'm sick of being, buttoned up, so to speak, right?
Right. Yeah. No. So it'll be nice to have you on our office meeting. And I was trying to remember. I was like, I knew when you were in town, and unfortunately I couldn't make that tour. But I was trying to think, when was the last time Rick was in town? So it'll be nice to have an interactive office meeting with you.
Yeah, because it was late February. Because then we all went to, or pretty much everybody went to the national convention, and thank God it was when it was, because if it was 2 weeks later, maybe even a week later, it wouldn't have happened. And then COVID really took off, and but we got our national convention into Nashville, and so thank God we did.
Right, because I think it was like 5 days after we were home, we went into shutdown.
Absolutely.
Kids home from school, stay at home, all that good stuff.
Cool. All right, so let's talk about that. So you guys are having an incredible year, transactionally, pending-wise. I mean, I think July was one of the best months ever at that Scottsdale office, wasn't it, for closings?
Yeah, our August maybe top.
August, sorry.
July. It was August.
Okay, so yeah, I think it was one of the best months ever for that office. That's incredible. So tell me some of the things, I know we know one of them, which is they stay in touch with their sphere, but give us a couple of things that you see agents doing, and don't be afraid to sprinkle in that new wonderful tool we have, the VAC 2.0, because I see a lot of people using that too.
Well, actually, that was going to be one of the first things I said. I do have a lot of agents that have adapted to it, and they really like the neighborhood report, because it's more fine-tuned to areas that they work in, especially some of my agents that have fairly well-established geographic farms. So I found many of the agents using that tool, and I've had several that have used that tool, and when their clients have received it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea my house was now worth $900,000, and if I could really get that right now, it would be a great time for me to move up." Because again, our interest rates have stayed so well, so the two married together, it's a great time to move up.
Yeah.
With the
cool.
increase in prices and the low interest rates. So I have a lot of agents using the neighborhood report with the VAC. A lot of them are using that, and they're setting up that they've revamped their drip campaigns because there's so many more options. So they're working on importing all their contacts and have their drip campaigns going again. So we've been doing mini workshops within the office where the agents can bring their laptop in, and we'll pick a topic, and I usually get anywhere from 6 to 10 people in person that'll come in with their laptops, and then we'll just work on sending out the neighborhood report, or we'll work on importing their contacts, or one week, because some of the classes go a little bit faster, they worked on tweaking their websites, and they like being with peers because then they're on like level and they can stop and somebody can help someone else. So I've got 2 more workshops on the calendar for this month as well, so that we just keep learning and using these great tools that the company brings out for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that neighborhood report too. It's super hyper local. That's the new catchwords, hyper local, because it gives and people like to see what's going on in their neighborhood. It's a great way to stay in touch with them too. And I also love the newsletters. I think the newsletters are really good.
Right, and then with this with the listing contest that went on through the month of October, anyone that took a listing, we were putting the listing kit on that listing for them, so that they learned about how to leverage up with that listing kit and all the different platforms that listing kit can help them branch out their listing. Now, in reality, some of them didn't need the listing kit because they sold so quickly, but then we're going to flip that and do it to the Just Sale program, and Maria's been helping me with that, so they learn about, because you take a listing, you always want to try to get another piece of business out of that listing, so it brings you 2 pieces of business.
Right. Right, and the great thing about Arizona is, and Nevada, you can. California's not quite there yet, but you can go out, you can knock, you can let people know what you're doing in the neighborhood, which I think is incredibly good. And like you said, it's one of those things that personal touch, I think, is huge, especially in a time when there hasn't been a lot of that. So I think that's also good as well. I mean, you can print it out, you can bring it, you can get email addresses, you can send it. There's so many different ways you can do it, right?
Yeah, and like you said, we're a little bit more fortunate here in Arizona. We think we opened up a little bit sooner or have more relaxed things. So, and because of our weather, now that it's fall, I still have had agents doing their kind of fall events, and they've been holding them like outside in a park. And one agent, where last year she had the kids come to the park and decorate the pumpkins and everything like this year they kind of got a kit to pick up and decorate the pumpkins and then post it onto their social media. So still that common touch, though, of being face-to-face. And a mask, of course, but being face-to-face. Right.
And a mask. Got to wear a mask. Yep. Got to keep it simple. And be safe. All that good stuff. All right, cool. Anything else from the VAC 2.0 you want to give an honorable mention to? I mean, just so much stuff in there.
I think the Ready Promo is a great tool to really learn and utilize it. I think
tell them
that's
about that, please, so they understand.
Well, it's you can go in and you can create flyers. You can create post it easily to social media. It helps it get it out and running and just noticed, I think, a lot sooner.
Right, and all they really need to know is the property. Like I always jokingly
right.
say, your current picture information and the property, and it'll create the flyers, and handouts, everything. Okay, quickly.
Right. I mean, you get that property address loaded in there, and you're ready to print things up in a nanosecond. So it's a great thing to get ready to even here, because we're still able to do open houses, so you can just be ready and out the door very quickly.
Okay, good. And it seems like from an office standpoint, we have a lot of people using it. The VAC before that was good, but this one is like on steroids compared to the last one. And it seems like we're getting a higher percentage of people using it, which is great for everybody, because the more that name gets out there, the better off. Yeah, and even for me, from a management side, when I show people the neighborhood report or the Ready Promo or something in a recruiting interview type of situation, they're pretty much blown away. That how it's right there on one dashboard and they can maneuver around quickly. So for many reasons, I just think it gives us a step up from other companies, but mostly for our agents to really leverage and continue to grow their business in an easy, very professional manner. Absolutely, and we're even using it as managers for recruiting, right?
Right. Yep. So it's
So
pretty powerful to be able to send a recruit a neighborhood report on one of their listings, and they're like, well, how do I get that? Well, you come here. So
right.
that's how
You
get
can't
it.
where you are, but you can hear. I love it. I love it. No, it's true. And then you can, all the different things that it does, you can show them over time. Like, where do you live? Great. Here's what, if you were one of my clients, this is what you'd be getting from me. What do you think? And they can't copy it because it's all stuff with our, obviously, branding and so forth. So good. All right, good. So anything else you want to mention about that? I mean, that's good stuff. We can move on if you're, unless there's something else you can think of. Okay, good.
That's good.
All right, so we talked about what agents are doing in your office. Anything else of agents in your office you'd like to mention as far as what they're doing in a time like this?
I do actually have agents out there, again, door knocking. In fact, we'll be doing a door knocking event in November here in the office where I have one agent that's really stellar at it, and so she's always very generous with her time. That's the great thing about my office is we're very much about sharing and helping everybody grow. So she'll be doing her door knocking workshop, and then she'll take a small group out because now is the time with our weather. Our weather is so nice, and as you know, many of our winter visitors will start returning, and they'll be here in seasonal rentals and their second homes, and a lot of times that means they have friends that also want to be here. So it's a great way to get out and meet people.
Absolutely. Good. All right, cool. All right. So let me ask you this. So this is one of my favorite questions to ask, as you probably have heard in the past. So put your sales hat back on now. You're an agent in our company, okay? Because most of the people on this call today are either in California, Nevada, or Arizona, or will listen to it. All right. So you're an agent, and either whether you're new or just an agent taking it to the next level, based on what you know today with your 25 years experience, what would be the three most important things you would tell them to focus on?
I would definitely tell them to focus on getting their CRM, their database set up, and their drip campaign set up, because that's just a great way to have your have your name and stuff going out in the background. I was a big geographic farmer. That was pretty much a big part of my business. And not everybody will want to do that. But for those that are geographic farming, I'm already meeting with agents in my office, and we're setting out their marketing for the whole next year.
I gotcha.
So
wait a minute. Let's go back to the first one for a second, okay? So your CRM, so how would you, your sphere and so forth, even maybe your farm, how would you set that up? Be specific so they can hear how you would do it.
Okay, so I always had several categories within my CRM, and I still do to this day, because I have my recruit CRM, I have the CRM. So I would have my my geographic farm in one, and then if I was a geographic farmer, then I would have my CRM split out to past clients in Sphere, kind of my top A people that I've done business with continue to call and give me business, because I would have them set up on I would have it calendar for them besides just the newsletter and the normal drip thing. I would have also like my birthdays and anniversaries set up so that automatically goes out, like an anniversary on the house, and their birthdays, their kids' birthdays, those kind of things. And then I would calendar when it was time to call people, because you really want to touch base at least 4 times a year with those kind of people. But I probably did it every other month, just because for me it was very easy for me to just pick up the phone when I was out and about in different areas, because a lot of my work happened in a fairly condensed area, and I was like, oh, so and so lives in here. I'll call them as I'm driving around this area today. So I would have it set up that way. So I'd have birthdays, I'd have anniversaries, I'd have different people calendared. I always kind of kept my A, B, C list. So my A's were my top, and then my B's were people that I was like in contact with, doing more contact with, getting them used to giving me referrals so that I was top of mind. And then the C people were maybe people that I had done business with in the past, but they hadn't given me referrals, but they were still on a touch basis so that I was still top of mind when referrals were being talked about.
Okay, good. All right, good. Now, okay, so that's okay. I love it. Perfect. Great way to do it. And then, most of these people, once you set them up once in the VAC 2.0, you're done. You just have to. It does its thing, and you just have to worry about the phone. So it does take a little time to set them up. But once they're set up, the biggest complaint in real estate is there's no residual income. I love when people tell me that. Like in insurance sales, if you don't do it right, you're right. But if you do it right, there is all kinds of residual income in this business. So good stuff. Now, would you do the same with your farm? Set them up pretty much the same way?
I would. Sometimes I had a fairly large geographic farm, so my like mailing campaign always had a call to action on it. So I had a very templated format. So the front of my postcard was the same shot. It was a mountain that all these different subdivisions saw in their view, and then the back would change, was always the same little write-up to me on the one side, and then the back would change with whatever I wanted to, what I just listed, what I just sold, what I wanted to update them with, and then I'd always have a call to action because that's how I was able to get, when you started off as a mailing campaign, that's how I was able to get accurate email and cell phones so that could go into the drip campaign and then they could be added in that way as well.
Okay, good.
So like a call to action would be, call me for the, because I never did do the stats on my postcard, so it would be, call me for the most recent sales in your specific development, or call me for the 5 steps to get your home ready, or call, so there was always different things like that. Or register, and I would get a lot of people to go onto my website and register that way.
Okay, good. I love it. Good stuff. All right, so that is, I think is that one of your 3, or is it the CRM and the farm, or are those together?
No, I had the farm separate than my sphere. So then sometimes I know when I'm meeting with agents, sometimes there's confused because we say who's in your database or who's in your sphere, and they kind of have the two merged together, but I think they're very different. Your sphere is really people that know you, would do business with you, have done business with you, would refer you business, and have done business with you in the past. So sometimes obviously they moved between categories. So they maybe started out in the geographic farm, but then I sold their home and sold them another home, and then they moved into the other category because they had done business with me and I had developed that personal relationship with them.
Yeah, I agree. All the other lead sources are really just sources to build your sphere, because if you're doing it right, that's what's going to happen. Right.
So I always kept 2 very diverse things.
All right. All right, cool. So that's an awesome. Okay, what's next on your list of things that you would definitely do right away to increase your business or get out of the gate hot?
Well, if you're new to the area and like I have many agents that right now have started and they're new to the area, I think the best thing to do is to get out there and learn areas, sit open houses so you get face-to-face, door knock, invite people to those open houses, really research the area where you're going to be sitting that open house. I really sit down with a lot of those agents and really teach them the RE Mobility app, because if you know the area you're sitting in, you can have very valid conversations with people, and they'll go, wow, they know their stuff, and they'll have that confidence in wanting to work with you sooner than just greeting them at a door with nothing to really bring to the table.
Right. Okay.
So a lot of them like to use the app because they can, do the electronic sign-in, share the app with them, and then they know the different properties that they're looking at, and then they can use that as a follow-up conversation after that open house. Hey, I noticed that you started looking over at houses on Elm Street. I met you on Oak Street, kind of thing, and it just is another way to have a conversation without feeling, some people are timid about picking up the phone or having those follow-up conversations, but they actually have a valid point to talk to them about. So it's kind of the eye-opener.
Right. Okay. Good. I love it. All right, cool. All right. Any other in your top 3, or is that 3, or is that I can't figure out if that was 2 or 3?
I don't know. Well, I would, open houses, door knocking, and And then really just I've got script practice set up every Monday from 9:15 to 10, which I'm not in it this morning, obviously, but is practicing those scripts and with your peers, and then just getting over that fear of picking up the phone. And a lot of them, with a lot of the newer agents, it's even starting to just call your sphere, let them know that you've embarked on this new career and adventure, and you're excited about it, and just to get in that habit of reaching out and telling people what you're doing. The very first manager I had in real estate, and it still sticks with me today, was do not be a secret agent.
Right. I love that too.
So
do not be a secret agent.
People
Right.
don't know what you do if you don't talk about it.
That's true, and it's weird for them if you don't talk about it because they think you're too busy and you don't want to be bothered. Think about this: if you don't bring up what you do to your friends, family, your sphere, why would they ever use you? Right?
Exactly.
Doesn't even make sense. Even the top producers that get a lot of business from the repeat and referral that don't ask them. Could you imagine if they started asking what would happen? Incredible.
Yeah, and I think that just ties back to making sure those people in your sphere in that manner that they are getting the phone calls from you, because that just reinforces. And it's not, my phone calls were never really, they know what I do for a living. I don't have to say. I sold them a house, and unless I'm calling to tell them I'm now a nurse, which that's never going to happen, but you know what I mean? So it's just calling to say, I remembered your son played soccer. How's soccer season going? Because if you have those personal notes in your CRM and you follow up with those, you are their trusted advisor then, and they think of you for their friends. They think of you for themselves. The fun for me for doing this for so long is I've sold generations of families' homes, and that's just so rewarding to know that I've been in these people's stories for so long of their biggest events in their lives.
Yep. Toughest part of this business is getting the ball rolling. Once you do, it's pretty amazing what happens, and a lot of people quit before the miracle happens because it does take a little while. You started a business, you're a business owner, and it takes a little while to get into the groove. But once you do, it's an incredible business. So, all right, Michelle, any final words you want to leave them? We got 2 minutes. Any final words?
I think the other thing, you brought up a valid point just by saying it is a business and we are running our own business. And I think that people need to step back and remember, I'm running a business and I have to invest time, money, and energy into the business. And it's to find creative ways to outsource things that aren't your strengths. Like my strength was, talking and selling and meeting people, but my strength wasn't setting up the system. So I made sure I hired an assistant that her strength was setting up the systems and running my postcard campaign. Because if I would have done it, it would have never gotten out the door timely because I would have been too busy talking to people.
Right. That's a good problem to have, and I was the same way. I was always administratively challenged, and I'm actually proud of it. And because I just never gave my time the time to learn it, because I'd rather be doing the things I'm good at, talking to people, going on appointments, negotiating deals, doing my lead follow-up, that type of thing, which is critically important. Once again, back to business, what is my highest return on my time? What are my billable hour activities? And that's doing those things that get paid the most money to do, and not submitting a listing, not doing the mailing, but, even setting up your own social media. You should have social media, but if you can get someone else to do it, that's even better for you.
Right. So I firmly agree that you're a business and you've got to figure out where you can, save a percentage of your check and put it back into either someone to help you with your systems if that's not your strength, or at least hire a transaction coordinator or have somebody that does your marketing for you, because that frees up your time so that you can be making more sales and not working, 12, 14 hours a day and burn out. Right.
I got you. 100%. Well, Michelle Boggiano, from the manager of the Scottsdale office, referred to as the Careland office all the time. Thank you very much for taking out your time today. This has been extremely awesome. You're dynamite. I'll see you next week. And thanks for taking your time out today. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks for having me on, Rick. Everyone have a great day.
You got it. Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody, bye-bye now. God, motherfucker.